Hey everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 7, Episode 9, Force of Nature. Oh god, this is a rough episode. In fact, this might be my shortest video because I got nothing to say about this episode. So the thing that I like about Star Trek is how it can be allegorical, metaphorical, it can bring social issues to the forefront in a sci-fi interesting way. That being said, I mean, they've talked about race, they've talked about sex, they've talked about abortion, they've talked about drugs. I mean, with the episode Outcast, it even kind of talked about homosexuality a little bit. There's a lot of topics they talk about. And then there's this episode. So this is clearly an allegorical episode about basically like recycling, using fossil fuels, taking care of our environment. I totally respect that, and I totally understand what they were doing with it. God, they did it the wrong way. It's a bad episode. The whole episode is basically about how every time we go to warp speed, it's causing a rift, and it's like hurting the galaxy. And it's accumulative. So, like, if you go warp 6 and then a month later you pass in the same sector at warp 6 again, it adds and it builds. So they have a little map about, oh, this is what the galaxy will look like in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 40 years. And so Starfleet decides to put in a speed limit so that now Starfleet ships can only go warp 5. And they even say in the episode, like, what about all the ships that are not in Starfleet, like the Cardassians or the Borg or all of these others that don't care? Like, it's just a bad episode, all in general. Like, I get it. I get they're trying to say we need to figure things out to make our lives better and our environment better. It's a great message. It's just a bad way. Like, there's been books, like the fan-written books or whatever, that have basically been like, oh, you know what? We invented a new warp core and we can go like warp 9 again. Because after this episode, it's never brought up again. Like, Voyager, they're going warp 9, the whole thing. Like, this episode just gets ignored. Most people don't even consider this episode canon. So, for those who have seen it, am I blowing this out of proportion? Like, is this actually a really good episode? And I'm just like, blah, recycling. Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Do you guys consider this episode canon? Or is this the episode that the fans forgot? Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for putting up with my little rant about this episode, because I hate this episode. I will see you guys next time for the interesting episode, Inheritance.